2026 TVs are all about the new world order in the TV industry. Forget OLED versus Mini LED. It's all about who has the best RGB Mini LED TV in 2026. And is someone new taking control of the TV narrative. For over 20 years, Samsung owned the center stage at CES. So when you entered Central Hall, the first thing you saw was the Samsung display. But in 2026, Samsung has moved on and TCL has now taken over center stage. Is this a symbolic shift in power? Maybe not. Samsung didn't retreat. They went upscale, moving to 5-star hotels, the Win and the Encore, expanding their footprint. Samsung is telling TCL, go ahead, take our old spot. We're moving on up, joining the Jeffersons in the penthouse. And with this shift, a new alliance has formed. LG and Samsung, once fierce rivals, are now quietly working together. Samsung, ironically, is buying LG's OLED panels to beat QLED TVs being sold by TCL and Hisense, while LG is using Samsung's micro RGB TV technology to win CES awards. So today we're talking about 2026 TVs, Samsung rebuilding its entire lineup with the help of LG, and Sony flexing its true RGB Godzilla TV, 10 years in the making. And TCL and Hisense seducing consumers with cheap, bright RGB Mini LED TVs, and LG collecting the most TV awards at CES. You guys have heard of the Voltron Award or the Deja Vu Award? We're going to talk about that. Stop the FOMO, because Value Electronics has everything you need to build the man cave of your dreams. I've bought my gear from Robert Zone at Value Electronics since the very start of this channel. I've bought several flagship TVs from Robert, asking him to make sure they were fully quality controlled and calibrated before delivery. And when it comes time to get your end game setup with a 98-inch display, in-wall speakers, an SVS Ultra Sub, and Sony's flagship receiver, Robert helped me go all in. Even if you're not ready for the ultimate home theater experience, Value Electronics can still set you up with the best TV for you from Sony, LG, Samsung, Hisense, TCL, at any size. Yes, even 116 inches if you want it. And if you tell them FOMO sent you, more goodies. So yeah, stop the FOMO and check out Value Electronics today. Before we talk Samsung, LG, or Sony, let's talk about TCL moving into center stage, the main floor at CES. Well, not just the main floor, literally taking over Samsung's old spot. Now, this old spot was the main stage, the biggest area at the convention center. And TCL is saying, we're ready. We're taking over this spot. Well, Samsung has moved up to a more lucrative spot at the Win and the Encore 5-star hotels. We'll talk about Samsung's branding strategy in 2026, but TCL is announcing to the world, we are here. We are now the biggest player in TVs, and Hisense is right behind them, moving next door. So TCL takes over Samsung's old spot. Hisense moves into TCL's spot, right? These are the top two spots. And well, what's going to happen next? Let's talk about what this means to consumers. Consumers, I'd say 6 years ago, what's TCL? What's Hisense? Today, TCL sponsors the NFL, Hisense sponsors the NBA, and I think FIFA, right? They have come to popular culture's consciousness by being associated with Americans' favorite pastimes: basketball, NFL, football. Are we missing baseball? Well, regardless, right? There are no longer Chinese companies from out of nowhere, like mysterious companies with random letters for names, TCL, Hisense. What does that mean? They're associated with our most popular sports because of this branding partnership. And now at CES, you see them on the main stage as global players. That's huge. They are saying, look, as a brand, we are here, which takes us to Samsung's strategy. Now, Samsung needs to elevate itself above that. It needs to announce to the world, we're walking away from the common stage. That main stage, we've been there 20 years. Let TCL take it over. Peanuts. We're going 5-star upscale, not just at CES, but for our TVs. Take a look at this. QLED, right? The marketing that Samsung has been using for the last 10 years since OLED was introduced by LG, Samsung was not happy. Like, oh my gosh, LG's got this OLED. How do we fight it? So they developed QLED. It's an LCD TV technology, QLED using quantum dots, but they conveniently called it QLED so as to confuse the consumer. Wait, OLED, QLED, which is better? Q comes after O. QLED must be better, right? And of course, OLED has burn-in, QLED doesn't. OLED is dim, QLED is bright, right? So Samsung's been attacking OLED all this time and marketing QLED as the superior TV. Well, lo and behold, TCL and Hisense says, you're right, let us buy QLED from you. So TCL and Hisense began selling QLED in 2016, 2017, right? They sell QLED TVs, or they sold it so well that they now surpass Samsung in QLED mini LED sales, or potentially surpassing them in 2026. And Samsung's like, wait a minute, every time we market QLED, we're helping TCL and Hisense sell more TVs. We have to stop using the word QLED. And the second irony, right? First, selling QLED to the competition and the competition taking over with QLED. The second irony is they now sell more OLED TVs than LG, the originator of the OLED TV with WOLED. So Samsung's like, okay, how do we separate ourselves? We have to completely rebrand. LG is no longer the enemy. They are really fighting for survival. We've done such a great job with the whole QLED versus OLED, but we need to separate our TVs from TCL and Hisense, which are now the masters of value, performance, QLED. What Samsung will do? Twofold. They will sell an entire OLED lineup. Check out this article, Flat Panels HD. Thank you, Rasmus. And there he's showing, wait, there's going to be a whole lot more OLED TVs that Samsung will be selling in 2026, from budget models, and I'm predicting under $1,000, different sizes, all the way up to the flagship model, introducing a new upper tier, S99. So it'll be S82H, 83H, 84H, 85H, 90H, 95H, and an all-new flagship S99H. Now, what does the S99H bring to the table? We don't know, but here's my speculation, right? Remember, LG and Samsung now cross-pollinating, collaborating. If LG is taking Samsung's micro RGB TV technology, Samsung could take from LG Zero Connect box wireless technology. So we got the One Connect box, the S95, right? When you go to S99, you go to Zero Connect. What does that do? Well, I have my doubts of its utility. So it's less about, oh, it's so convenient, right? My source, no more wires connected to a box, connected to another wire, connected to a TV. But rather, it's not about more wires or less wires. It's about the TV getting thinner, like ultra thin. The S99H could be a true, no holds barred lifestyle TV. The thinnest TV Samsung can produce, and lifestyle is where people are willing to pay a little bit more. The fashion forward folks who are like, wait a minute, why am I paying more for this TV? If it's image quality, they don't care. But if it's something stylish, ooh, the thinnest TV ever. And that's how Samsung is going to position themselves in 2026. Thus, the move to 5-star hotels, the Win, the Encore, right? So the S99H is not about image quality. That's already available on the S95. The S99 needs to elevate lifestyle. Drop the word QLED. Do not use that brand anymore. Let TCL and Hisense have QLED. Samsung will be using micro RGB That's their new brand for the highest end LCD mini LED TV, right? Using RGB mini LEDs, whatever they want to describe it as. But ultimately, this is their new premium lineup. Micro RGB TV, and then a range of affordable OLEDs under $1,000 all the way up to lifestyle OLEDs costing maybe $8,000 or more, and losing QLED altogether. Let TCL and Hisense market QLED, because every time Samsung says QLED is great, they're actually helping out TCL and Hisense. And what about its quiet partner LG? So while Samsung is making its move uptown, LG is collecting awards, but I have my doubts whether these awards are worthy. Let's start with the first CES Innovation Award. I call it the Voltron Award, which is this. In 2024, LG won an Innovation Award for wireless TV. In 2025, they won the Innovation Award for transparent TV. Well, if you put together wireless and transparent, mash them up, in 2026, they win the Innovation Award for wireless transparent TV, which to me would be the Voltron Award, right? You fuse two awards together, boom, you get another award. Come on, LG. Innovation, please. But let's not stop at the transparent wireless OLED. Let's move on to their second CES TV award, and that is the Micro RGB TV. I was like, wait a minute. Isn't this the Deja Vu Award? Because last year in 2024, Samsung introduced the Micro RGB TV. Now, at the time, they called it RGB Micro LED TV, which caused a lot of confusion. They rebranded it as Micro RGB TV, and lo and behold, LG puts it out on the floor and they win an award. But we've seen it before, the Deja Vu Award. LG, I love you, but come on, man. You're even using Samsung's brand name, Micro RGB, but it's okay, right? You win an award, I love you. But ultimately, what's LG doing in 2026? Cheaper OLEDs. So you saw Samsung introducing possibly a whole new lineup of less expensive OLEDs, plus a more expensive lifestyle OLED. LG needs to do the same on the low end, right? So up to this point, the least expensive OLED TV has been the B series. Why? Either you lower the price of the B series or give me more affordable OLEDs, because frankly, even $999 for a 65-inch OLED is way too much. If you can sell me $700 for a 65-inch OLED, I don't need it to be 2,000 nits brightness, right? And as I've said before, the brightness wars are over. LG can stop focusing on brighter and brighter OLEDs. Sony is walking into 2026 with a TV that was 10 years or more in the making. The true RGB Godzilla. True RGB. I guess they're suggesting that everything else is untrue, which is great. I can't wait to see that marketing, right? But ultimately, this is the TV that's going to end it all in terms of flagship performance. Now, you guys know how much I love the Bravia 9. I have it. It remains a reference TV among all LCD TVs. Literally, it is still the best mini LED TV you can buy. And in my opinion, this is Sony's Z9D moment. So if you guys didn't pick up the Z9D way back when it was the most awesome TV Sony ever made, here's your second chance with the Bravia 9. Well, with this true RGB technology, which is their moniker for that RGB mini LED that Hisense and TCL is using, or what Samsung and LG call micro RGB, or is it RGB micro? Whatever, same thing. Sony's calling it true RGB, and here's the best part. It's going to be on the Bravia 9 Mark II. If the leaks out of China are true, thank you, High Def News, for posting all your little leaks from China. But the Bravia 9 Mark II will be using true RGB, as well as the Bravia 7 Mark II. Now here's the kicker. The Bravia 9 Mark II starts at 75 inches and goes on up from there. So this is truly going to be for people with deep pockets, right? Now, if you can't afford the 75-inch, either the size or the price, The Bravia 7 Mark II still gives you true RGB technology at a cheaper level and smaller sizes, because will this TV actually be better than my 65-inch Bravia 9? Or more appropriately for you guys, if I compared it to the more expensive, and I predict the Bravia 7 Mark II 65-inch will be more expensive than my Bravia 9. Can the Bravia 7 Mark II True RGB beat the Bravia 9? Because no one else has. Not TCL, not Samsung, not Hisense. Maybe in 2026, Sony's next generation True RGB can finally beat the Bravia 9. You know what my prediction is? It can't. You're going to have to go to the Bravia 9 Mark II to maybe beat it. Is the Bravia 9 going to continue to beat up on the competition, including its own successors? Now, with all these TV makers talking about RGB Mini LED, True RGB, Micro RGB, notice a common theme? RGB. Suddenly, everyone's into RGB, and this will be the buzz in 2026. Wider color, more color. The BT 2020 race is on. Everyone's pronouncing that with this latest technology, True RGB or RGB Mini LED or Micro RGB, we're hitting 100% BT 2020 or very close to it. Does getting your TVs, LCD TVs, close to 100% BT 2020 make a difference? Unfortunately, no. This is going to be that red herring again. Oh, my TV does 10,000 nits, but I'm watching Columbo. What does it matter, right? This is one of those specs where you're going to get all excited about more color coverage, wider color gamut, when the reality is, if your source isn't being mastered using the colors that are in the additional space provided by BT 2020, it's all going to look the same. Whether it's a 5-year-old OLED or a 3-year-old LCD TV or next year's greatest RGB Mini LED, it's all going to look the same. And Samsung recognizes this. So this is the funny part, right? So, it's all the buzz, BT 2020, RGB technology. But Samsung said that HDR10 Plus Advanced, right? That's what they're releasing in 2026, will upmix, upscale, up something your color so that it fills out the BT 2020 space. In other words, rosy cheeks will be rosier. Actually, let me restate that. Movies coming out of Hollywood or Netflix will be like they were graded for older TVs. YouTube demo material, like those made by Jennifer Gala, HDR Super Channel, right? I use that for my demos and my testing. They will push BT 2020. So Jennifer, I know you're on this. When she starts putting out more content in 2026 for demo material, believe me when I say she's going to put out full BT 2020 color space using all the colors that only a TV capable of showing that color can show properly. And that might even exceed my reference monitor. So I'm excited to see how these TVs show Jennifer's new content in 2026. But short of creators who are conscientiously using colors available in BT 2020, and that's not to say you can tell the difference between this blue and that blue, you might not, and it may not make a difference, but still, it's there. But the reality is, movies from studios, Netflix, Disney Plus are very unlikely to use the additional color space because why, right? It's like using it just to use it doesn't matter. And don't forget our CES live coverage. We're going to cover it all the brands, all the excitement. Until next time, stop the FOMO.